I mean, Cubone wears its mother's skull on its head.
But that's cute. Hello and welcome. My name is Alex Gonzalez. With me today is my good old friend, J.E.
Hey, that's me.
And please remember that we are not game devs. How are you doing today,
cute?
Jay?
I feel like that's morbid as shit. When your mom dies, you're not gonna decapitate her and then like age the so all the stuff comes off, and so you only have the skull and then wear it as a hat.
Absolutely not. That's disgusting. But when Cubone does it, it's cute.
Sure.
But those are not the Pokemon that we are talking about today. Today we are creating something new. Every week on We Are Not Game Devs, we create a brand new video game idea from our minds. Join in on the fun, be creative, and if you have your own unique video game idea or want to patch ours, write into @poundgames@gmail.com. Today is my turn to present We Are Not Game Devs 229th IP. Let's begin with this basic concept. I want to make a game where your character is able to teleport and jump from any mirrored surface, as well as shoot out of any mirrored surface. I want to make it like a stealth action game, but that there's different mirrored surfaces. I can see this. The only other thing I'll offer is maybe that we can make it like a what? I don't know why I made this. I'm sorry. But basically like the character carries like a compact mirror, that people usually use to apply makeup. And that will be like your one mirror you can throw out.
Yeah. I mean, is that all you've got, or do you have more that you want to add to it?
That's about it. I mean, I don't know why, but I also feel like you should be shooting people with guns in this game, but that is not to stay.
My first question, spoilers, by the way, for both X-Men and for One Piece. Is this mirror power kind of like Brûlé from Whole Cake Island, where when you go into a mirror, you go into like a mirror dimension, and then you pick mirrors from there, or like how Nightcrawler does it, where if he teleports, he's essentially going through like an alternate dimension, like through hell and shit, and then going through another portal. Or
that's right. I forgot how that Nightcrawler was like that. The first time I saw that in the movie, I was like, everyone always wants Nightcrawler's power, and then when you see that, you're like, oh my god, I don't know if I want that power anymore.
Well, he does it so fast, he didn't even know he was doing it for so long. But I was also, it's either like that, but I think that's not as cool and visually appealing as if it was more like Noctis from Final Fantasy VII, where you could see mirrored surfaces, and it would kind of work like how Spider-Man's web slinging works, where if you see a mirror, you just there'd be the player would see like an icon, like a little target reticle, and then you just press a button and then you'll just teleport to that mirror.
And I think that's what I want to do. And then that way you can also do stealth kills and everything, like using mirrors and mirrored surfaces. So I'm thinking, of course, we're going to have to do puddles, right? We're going to have to do car windows, building windows.
I also think it'll be cool if we make it so this game is super beautiful and also very, very super ray traced. I don't know if that's a verb I could use.
Yeah.
So like sometimes a puddle will be teleportable to, and sometimes it won't. If it's a rainy day, you won't be able to use anything except for mirrors. You know what I mean? Like lighting has an effect on what's reflective, and so I think the game has
lighting
to do
does
that.
have an effect.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that too, because you could also shoot out, or for instance, let's say you're in an office and then you turn off the power. Every single computer screen then becomes reflective. Depending, I mean, yeah, I'm looking at these like LCD monitors I have, and they're not. They have a soft screen, but some does, and then phones as well are reflective.
Yeah.
Glasses.
I mean, what's gonna come out of it? Like a whole fucking human being comes out of someone's glasses.
What if it's like a scene where it's just a bullet comes out of someone's glasses into the and he's talking to a person, and it just shoots into his head and it's out of his glasses.
That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, where it's like two people talking, and then he shoots into him, and then maybe as the blood pools and he's looking at him, you see two arms come out of the blood, that's reflective, and then just bash the dude's head onto the floor. This I think this has the opportunity of being a game where it's a little bit darker in tone because of what you're doing as you're sneaking around and killing people.
Yeah.
I just don't know why you're doing it, or the motivation, or the character.
So I love the idea that you can do the bullet thing, but I just don't know how that would work gameplay wise. So I feel like what it's going to have to be is no. I just don't think projectiles and guns will work, because then we'd have to freeze time and allow players to choose, I want to shoot a bullet into this mirror and have it come out of that specific one way over there at this very specific time. And so you would have to stop time or have a slowdown effect where the player would be able to like choose where to do it and stuff.
Have like a mode where you switch it on and it's super hot.
I see.
Where there's
like,
a power that you have where you set it up where it's super hot. So then as you start to move and it starts to tick, it's like one frame, like not actually a frame, but you get me, like
as you move, everything, the time moves in real time type of thing.
Yeah.
Because like the second solution, I was thinking, because it would be cool if you could do that where you could like start it'd be more puzzle gamey, where you could like throw a dagger through this window and have it go out through that thing and have that whole thing. But that's if it's more like a super hot arcadey kind of puzzle game. What I was thinking, if it was more like a stealth Dishonored game, it would be more like you would have to sit in the shadows for a little bit, wait for an opportunity. Someone turns around in front of a reflective surface. You go into your compact mirror and out of that mirrored surface, like only halfway, and then you just grab them, like turn their neck, and then disappear into another reflective surface, or bring them in with you and stuff like that.
That's probably what you'd have to do. I'm thinking it's something like that, and then we're just gonna have to be real creative in terms of reflective surfaces.
Can you instantly teleport to any reflective surface, or does it have to be you're going from mirror to mirror type of thing?
That I don't know, because I feel like we should do it where you can instantly teleport to any reflective surface.
So you just disappear into light. Maybe, how about this? In order to be able to teleport somewhere, you have to be able to see yourself in the reflection. So you can't go somewhere, you can't reflect off a mirror that's not even pointing at you. It has to be pointing at you.
That is going to be so trippy. Yeah, because you're going to be able to see yourself, then become yourself in the mirror and jump out.
Yeah. And then from there, I guess how it would have to work is you're teleporting through the city, going from reflective surface to reflective surface, and we'd have to design the city that way so there's always mirrors kind of looking at each other for traversal reasons. And then when you see your options in front of you, I guess it would have to be like a highlight thing where like in front of the player's eyes, they'll see like a bunch of red squares that is possible for you to teleport to, and then you kind of look in that general direction, and when the reticle is over the mirror or the reflective surface that you want to go to, you press the button and you go there instantly. And if it's a light reflected or a light based thing like a puddle and then the sun goes away, when you get to that surface, you don't go in, you start falling, and then you have to find another reflective surface to go into if that one like is no longer reflective for whatever reason. Like maybe there's a cutscene where you're trying to go into a puddle because you're falling, and the puddle all of a sudden isn't reflective, and then you just boom fall right onto the ground.
Yeah I think this will be good, and you can level it up, and I think do different powers within the mirrors, including I'm thinking leaping through mirrors or using smaller surfaces for different like attacks or skills. Things that you can't do.
I think it'll be fine for like glasses and stuff now if it's just like you have the ability when you see yourself in a mirror just to turn into light and go there. So you could go into any small surface. So out of glasses, yeah, I guess it would just be light, and then you just submerge, kind of like I'm trying to think of a good reference, but I can't think of any. You know, when someone gets sucked into a book or something, it's and then it just like it just works.
So I'm guessing that that maybe this is going to be an entirely different world. That's I don't want to go after anything else except let's make this like a dystopian future. So similar to Black Mirror, wink wink mirror. And there's going to be a lot of tech here and it's going to be a city. That way we maximize the amount of reflective surfaces, right? And in this area, there's a bunch of corporations that have taken over, and you are trying to find more data because there used to be a lot more people like you, and they all went away. And now you're just trying to figure out what happened while trying to dodge it and taking down big corporations. Everyone hates corporations these days or loves them.
In terms of the story, I feel like I don't know why I was leaning more towards like kind of more like an Infamous world where there's just people with extraordinary powers all around and you're just one of them.
We could do that too. Because I was thinking another one would be somebody who also exists in this world would be someone who can appear and control shadows.
I was just thinking shadows as well, yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe there's just in this world people who could teleport through different types of surfaces and stuff like that. Like one person appears in gas and one person
I was thinking not gas, but fire. So, like, let's say it'd be really ridiculous and it would almost be bordering on anime. So, there's this guy, right? And he has glasses on, and you teleport through the glasses, and he's smoking a cigarette. And and the light from the cigarette when he turns it on makes the dude appear in his shadow. And then when he takes his first drag from the cigarette, like and the flame that turns on, somebody else teleports to the flame. So this guy's just fucked. Like he
with a
like
cigarette catches bigger fire and then someone just whoosh, appears right there and just
yeah,
lands in front of them.
And there's someone in his glasses and someone who like creeps up from his shadow and he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I guess we'll make it so all these people they're not related like by blood or family or anything,
Yeah.
but they all got their power from like a similar source.
And then
but like not some of them know and some of them don't. Kind of like maybe they're a being, like they're like an alien being, like the Saiyans from Dragon Ball.
There's some cool artistic like things that I can think of. For instance, if someone has you cornered, like one of these powered up guys, they'll see you try to run away and you're running across somebody's glasses into another person's belt buckle, into like somebody's ring, and then into the window, and then into the building across from you. And they're like, holy shit, they're gone. And it just shows you just running away on reflective surfaces as you go from one to the other to the other to the other until they're gone. So this is going to be a little bit like Jumper, that one movie that came out a long time ago.
Hayden Christensen, man. What if? So in my head, this game was going to be kind of like Dishonored, and you're going around stealthing and stuff.
That's what I'm thinking too. Still,
what if instead it's more like Mirror's Edge meets like not Endless Runner, but kind of more like Dying Light without the fighting, where it's like the story will take you from point A to point B, but on the way you're being chased by these other people who could teleport, and the whole point of the game is explore this open world city and get from point A to point B, and there's reflective surfaces without getting caught by whoever's chasing you. So one time it'll be fire, one time it'll be shadows, another time it'll be I don't know, smoke. And so like
there's got to be choreographed fight scenes.
Yeah, so
right.
I think,
while you're doing all this,
how to do that maybe is get it once you get to point A or once you get to point B, maybe point B is inside a specific building, and then you could do stuff in that building, and then point C, maybe it's out in an open field where now you have nowhere to teleport to, and then near the end of that particular choreographed fight, you look above in the sky and there's like a helicopter going by, and then that's the end of that scene. There's a cutscene after that type of stuff, you know?
Okay. I see that. I think you could make it where there's like different people with different powers. I don't think that I think there can be some that are teleporting, but I don't think they're all teleporting. I think there can be others
Like
that
other
have,
types of powers, like not just
yeah.
teleporting power. Yeah, for sure. And then I've never played Mirror's Edge, but from what I could tell, there's combat, but it's not the point. The combat is either used as a way to get somewhere else, like jumping off of a person, or like extra distraction that you need to get past. That's like you use your parkour more so to get past them instead of using weapons, but you could. So maybe what
Right.
the combat would be the same idea where there's a henchman in front of you and he has reflective surfaces all over him. So maybe you use the reflective surfaces to like either get past them sneakily and agilely, whatever the word would be,
In an agile way.
in an agile way.
I don't know.
Or maybe there could be like upgrade, like two different skill trees, and one of the skill trees you could upgrade is once you're like going to a reflection, you could abruptly stop the teleport, and then you just run into this guy at light speed, and then topple him over, and then keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's also other stuff where different powers will be like when you reflect and do a chain reflect off of one object to another, flashes of light will appear from the mirrored surfaces when you do it so that it stuns enemies around you.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Or you can do another one where if you press a certain button, when you reflect out of an object, you can break it and then cause glass shards to hit anybody in front of it.
that's a good one as well. Half
I
coming
can't
out
help.
of surfaces, like not fully going through, so you could like go backwards again. So you could use that
Yeah.
to pull things through. To like we could use that for both combat and for puzzles, where it's like for some reason there's a heavy button that can't be pressed right next to this mirror, but there's a giant crate over there that happens to be near a mirror. Let's pull that giant crate through this and then make it go on top of this switch, and then that type of stupid shit. You know what I mean?
Right. I can't help but picture in my mind that you're gonna face a boss scene where there's gonna be rain falling and you're hopping from mirrored surface to mirrored surface, and then the guy just comes out, loosens his tie, looks at you, puts out his cigarette, and then you notice that he's actually teleporting between each raindrop. And that's just like the biggest boss figure is they can teleport between water.
Yeah.
So then they're just like going everywhere.
And rain is when you are like least powerful because there's not that many reflective surfaces.
Until you power up on the final level, and then you're able to battle him, and you guys are both tiny, almost like an Ant-Man scene where he's teleporting between raindrops and you're teleporting between the reflection on the raindrops.
How's that gonna work?
So so then all of a sudden the game zooms in into macro lenses, into slow-mo, as you are both teleporting off of different raindrops and fighting. So then all of a sudden the world becomes really, really small as rain's falling in slow motion and you're doing different QTEs to teleport.
QTEs. I was thinking it would be like a Gravity Rush boss fight.
That's like I didn't prefer the boss fights.
I don't remember the sound effects that vividly since it's been years since I played it, but you know what it's like. You're just flying around, just using
and
your
bouncing
ability
off
to go
somebody's
up
head
and back down and to the left
or
to the right. So
what I would
have that
do
angle.
is I'd end up having a claw hand, and I do it so whenever I bounced off, I'd immediately change the camera view to get the enemy back in frame.
Yeah.
So I just keep hitting them over and over and over.
You just X X X X X X X X X X.
Yeah, while sitting there like
is like fly in the air over and over again just to get in the right position to hit that one spot. You know what I mean? A lot of that stuff. So I QTs is probably a better way to do that.
I think it just for like some fun moments where I don't think it's going to be fun in terms of gameplay, but we'd be fun as a concept to explore when people are like, well, if they could do reflection, why couldn't they? And they're like, oh, they did that. So this game's gonna have to have an immense amount of detail because all the reflections we're gonna have to make look nice and actually work. Which in video games, from what I understand, reflections are very hard to do. Like 1-to-1 reflections.
Yeah. And I think I mean, I remember when I was playing Last of Us not part 1, but Last of Us the original, the first one, in Sarah's bedroom where you start the game, you walk across a mirror, and then when I did it for the first time in 2007 or whatever, I walked past a mirror, I was like, holy shit. And I walked past and I was like, oh my god, she's there. She's in the mirror.
Yeah, it's
and she's moving around the same way I moved. And I stood in front of that mirror for at least 10 minutes when I was playing The Last of Us.
very difficult to do, but I think this will be a lot of fun. So what else are we thinking here? So do you think the setting of the kind of future?
That's fun. I see this as a hyper stylized city where for some reason they thought reflective mirrors on buildings would be cool. And so there's just happens to be a lot of reflective surfaces in this city.
Mm-hmm.
And
maybe future people have visors on and sunglasses and
just random
metal
things like that. Cars are extra shiny for whatever reason and stuff like that. And then I imagine how the world itself would look and feel like. I want it to kind of feel like how the Insomniac Spider-Man games feel, where it's just this big city that you could go around and explore and do all this stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of people are smoking with Zippo lighters. Just a lot of just reflective objects.
I don't think it should get that small and minute of a level, but I feel like when you teleport to something tiny like that, it is going to be for boss fights and choreographed stuff, like going through glasses and things like that,
Yeah.
And then, so I think the game's going to be a lot about traversal. There's going to be traversal upgrades, I'm assuming, that you could do where you could maybe after you teleport into a reflective surface, be able to jump super high up in the air or something like that. And then, you just go through and there's going to be some kind of story that gives a reason for all of this, where you're trying to go, maybe how to reverse the effects of all these people being able to do all these crazy things. Maybe this origin of everyone getting these powers, and where the source is, and you want to go reverse that because you don't like it. And so that explains why everyone's kind of learning how to do these powers that they have.
And you just happen not to like it. So you want to ruin everybody's good day.
Right. Maybe you find out that it's giving everyone cancer or an early death, or it's destroying their bodies or something.
Yeah. If you have these dope ass powers, you clock out at 27.
Yeah, it's just destroying your body from the inside or something.
And people can't help but use the powers.
And you could get there's a special reason why you want to do this, you have a baby brother that you need to take care of or something, or you just got engaged.
He just got a really dope power and he's like, I gotta use it.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're gonna die. I feel and then so I guess you're gonna have one of those tropish scenes that when you pull off something really, really cool at the end of Act 2, you're gonna cough up blood.
Yeah. And
then you're gonna take out a handkerchief to clean it, and that handkerchief is gonna have blood on it. And you're gonna be like, oh man, this guy's been down bad for a while.
Yeah. So that, I guess that would be the motivation. And then of course people are like, I like these powers. I don't care if I only have 10 more years to live.
What's 10 more years on top for 80 years in the slums?
Yeah. There's one old man that teleports through sand, and he's just maybe he's just
why is he
helpful.
Old? How did he make it to be so old then?
Well, the power happened all at the same time, right? An event happened, kind of in The Flash, where everyone got powers at the exact same time, and he's just an old man that just happened to get one of the powers.
And his is sand?
I don't know. And then he's actually trying to help you. He's actually a friend, and so he'll be, I don't know, your merchant.
Oh, so he's gonna be that kind of trope where he's gonna save you in the end, and you're like, no, and he's like, it's okay,
he
I've already
kills
lived
himself
1,000.
and turns the sand into like metal, right? Like he purposely melts himself as sand and then becomes a reflective surface, and you use him to land the final blow on the last boss.
I was thinking that he would go out using his power over and over and over again till he overcharges because he's aging himself.
Yeah.
That'd be funny if instead he's like, and he hardens as he kills himself.
Yeah, and turns into like volcanic rock or something that happens to be reflective.
Obsidian, like that black glass.
He puts himself in sand in front of like a torch or whatever, and he turns to glass.
It's morbid.
How are mirrors made?
I don't know, but it also reckons to think that, I mean, luckily with mirrors, if someone smashes one, there's just littler pieces.
What's the difference between a mirror and a window? How do you make a mirror a mirror? Do you know what I mean? Like how? What?
I know also that mirrors are green.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Well, if you put two mirrors together, they eventually reflect each other until they turn into a green color. I don't know why they're green, but they are green.
I don't know. I never thought about how mirrors work and why they exist over general glass. Because it's glass, right? Mirror is glass.
Yes.
How we make mirror?
I don't know.
I'm going to look this up. How do mirrors become mirrors, and why aren't they just regular glass?
I think, and you're right, it has a lot to do with lighting. All right, so music. What kind of music should we be listening to in this game? Like a techno? No.
In my head, I hear like spacey atmospheric music, but a lot of like really high pitched sounds, like not like the sound when a glass shatters, but like just like that high pitched ringiness to it, just to make it feel kind of glassy.
Interesting. So high pitched sounds that make it feel glassy.
So I looked it up. Mirrors are made by adding silver nitrate. It's silver that turns mirrors to mirror.
Silver, huh?
Silver nitrate specifically, apparently. What makes a mirror a mirror? Silver nitrate is dissolved and distilled in water. The addition to diluted ammonia until the mixture, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, silver nitrate. They're like photographs.
And I want
Whoa, that's crazy. What the fuck? That just blew my mind. A mirror is literally a photograph. Because like how grain photography, like film photography works, is you put it onto a silver nitrate paper and burn the image of a film photograph onto that picture. It's a mirror. Silver nitrate photos are mirrors that you burn a photo image onto, and mirrors are just photographs. That is wild. That is a wild thing to think about. A mirror is a photo that you...
Photographs are mirrors. And photographs are mirrors that you burned an image onto.
Photographs are mirrors that you burn an image onto. A mirror is glass that you put a photograph on top of.
You did it.
Yeah. Or into. You merge a photograph into a mirror. Not a modern photograph. I'm talking about old photographs that you had to go into a dark room and like put onto like silver nitrate paper.
Okay. All right. So now you should also look up why are mirrors green. And in the meantime, I agree with that techno, kind of spacey atmospheric music with high pitched sounds. I don't know what he's talking about there, but I mean, we'll do it. I think it'll sound good.
Mirrors are actually white, but real mirrors aren't perfect. Like a perfect mirror is white, but real mirrors aren't perfect, and their surface atoms give reflection to a very slight green tinge, as the atoms in glass reflect back green light more strongly than any other color. That's referencing to bbcscience.com.
There we go. Now we understand.
Yeah, I should probably give the artist credit too, but not artist, author. Do you remember how to do referencing? MMC or whatever it's called, MMA, BMA, MBA, MLA. Do you remember how to do that stuff?
APA? Nope. Honestly, I would always give a list of references, but I had the hardest time when they're like, no, not a colon, a semicolon should have been here, Alexander.
Yeah.
-1. And I'm like, and then what you do fuck,
parentheses,
dude?
Last name of the artist, comma, whatever page
I'm
was
like,
found.
I have his name. I have the page. I have the referenced work. I have a small paragraph talking about how I use his referenced work.
Yeah.
What more do you need? Why does it have to be in an order?
Yeah. MLA's. It was
that drove me nuts.
There was a whole class dedicated so you could learn how to do that for college. And you know what I mean?
I don't understand when it's like, yeah, so I got this off of J.E. from the podcast We Are Not Game Devs from the podcast network at Pound, episode 228, timestamp 28 minutes 4 seconds, available here. And what I used specifically was this to buff my evidence here. And they're like, J.E.?
That's not a
should have been Yi-J.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
You didn't fact check this. Wikipedia is not a valid source.
Ridiculous. Pricing. How much are you willing to pay for this game?
$50.
$50 for the ultra realistic mirror game.
I see this as like a EA Originals.
Fun stuff, though. All right, Jay, get your timer out because we're going to name this game.
Do it.
The letters ICU. No, I don't know.
I was thinking like reflect.
Reflect is easy.
Yeah. Mirror.
Say my name. I went the whole episode without making like a Candyman reference, or like a Bloody Mary reference. I think we should do
the main character's name is Mary.
No. All of a sudden, the game becomes horror right away.
On the Wall.
On the Wall's a good one. We can do that.
On the Wall in 51 seconds.
On the Wall is an action adventure game where you play as a character who has powers where they can bounce from mirror to mirror in a futuristic time where you're in a city and other people have gained powers. You find that these powers come with a devastating price, your life. People are dying before the age of 30 in pursuit of these powers, and you find that the power is so addicting, and the people at the top are making money off the people with powers, and you must stop them. And Off the Wall. All right, so I think we have a game here. Jay, what do you think? Would this be a game you'd want to play, and is it fun?
This is a game I would play once it hits PS Plus or Xbox Game Pass when I have an Xbox, and I have like, it sounds like this game's probably like, 30 hours, if even, like 18 hours, and I just had like a little bit of, like a weekend to play a video game, then I'll play it, but I'm probably not going to be paying full price for this one.
I gotcha. I'd play it. It'd have to have great raving reviews for me to try it, I think. Or it'd have to make a splash at the right time. Maybe come out like in the middle of April, May, like a June game. You know, that'd be great. Coming out in this pack November, I would really want to see it, but I don't think it'd be a game that I get to. I mean, there's just other games out there that are kind of like that for me, like Tunic, where I'm waiting, and I hear it's great, but I don't know why I haven't played it, so... Now that we have a complete game, what game studio would you assign to be able to make Off the Wall the best?
I would have said EA Original when they usually choose a random small indie developer to make a game for them. You know what I mean? So I guess EA as a publisher as a whole. But I did have one that was shouting at me the entire time we were making this game just because of the stylized way that this game would look. And just like kind of the weirdness of it. I think it would be great if this was given to Grasshopper Manufacturer. The developer that is headed by one Suda51 or Suda51, however you want to say it. The guy behind No More Heroes and a bunch of other random weird games that he's done.
Yeah, and then I would give it to Super Hot Team or Arcane Studios. I think they both could make something really cool. Arcane Studios, especially developers of Dishonored, and Super Hot Team developers of Super Hot. I think they can make it really fun where you're avoiding other people like incrementally while using your mirror powers.
Yeah. Sure. I'll also throw Arcane in there.
I threw Arcane in there.
I think you just said someone else.
I said both.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I only heard the
It's
first
all
one.
right. And with that, our 229th IP has gone gold. We hope you look forward to this experience that will probably never release. We have a Patreon. If you'd like to give us extra support, please head it over to patreon.com/wearenotgamedevs. For just $1, patrons receive episodes early and an extra podcast at the beginning, which you caught the tail end of our conversation at the beginning of this episode. That's patreon.com/wearenotgamedevs. Like, rate, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And if they ask for a review, instead of reviewing our show, become your inner game critic and review Off the Wall, the video game we just created. On the Wall.
This isn't a Vans game.
You're right.
Imagine. Sponsored by Vans. Off the Wall.
And then there's like a skateboarding sound in the background.
And there's also like a reflective V, the Vans logo. You know what I mean?
That'd be a weird tie-in. Thank you for joining us today. We will be back next Friday with another new IP. Again, my name is AG.
And I'm JE.
Thank you, and please remember that we are not game devs.
So you're just not going to mention at all that we had an entire episode scrapped?
We don't talk about that episode. I actually wrote notes. So let me see where my notes are. We don't talk about, where is it?
Are you looking for the title of the game? Because I know what it is.
Full Moon
Village. Yeah.
The game that you will never see, literally.
Don't ask about it.
Yep. It's in the graveyard now of dead games in the Nether.
The 2 games we've lost. I actually think there was one more. 3 games we've lost.
Think up to 4 games we've lost.
Maybe 4.
Because there was one time where we, I think we recorded a whole episode and then had to start right on over as we finished. Like that one was pretty soul crushing.
We've also had some where we record and at the end we're like, oh shit, I didn't record my end. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then it's like
recording or something, you know.
Yeah.
I guess we've had a few lost episodes.